British warship HMS Daring has docked in the Philippines to help the UK's emergency response to Typhoon Haiyan. The Type 45 destroyer and her crew arrived at the island of Cebu, in the crisis zone, to help people affected by the disaster. The UK's International Development Secretary Justine Greening told the BBC that Britain is likely to commit more money to help victims. Thousands have been killed and a number of British nationals remain missing. The typhoon, which had some of the strongest winds ever recorded on land, has killed more than 3,600 people and left about 500,000 people homeless. The UK has already committed £50 million in aid and a public appeal has raised a further £30 million. Ms. Greening said large amounts of relief supplies were starting to reach the country after the disaster 9 days ago. She said she expected a further increase in the need for aid in the near future. Stepping up supplies. I think we're likely to continue to review whether we need to do more, she told BBC Breakfast. She said a lot of the focus had been on key cities such as Tacloban, but HMS Daring had been on reconnaissance missions over some of the smaller, more far-flung islands. It's likely that we'll see greater need being assessed and therefore it's likely that we're going to be stepping up our supplies and our help for the Filipino people over the coming days and weeks. She added, HMS Daring has spent the last 3 days carrying out reconnaissance work in and around the Philippines. A Lynx helicopter will fly shelter kits, food and medical supplies to remote areas which have not been reached by international relief teams. Members of the 12-strong medical team from the UK will also be flown to different areas to treat the injured. Save the Children said a barge carrying more than 25 tons of aid items and household kits was expected to reach the country later. BBC correspondent Alistair Leigh had said the warship was moored 2 miles, 3.2 kilometers, off the port and was preparing to set sail to some of the more remote islands. He said the helicopter crew had been filming and taking photographs of the affected areas and analyzing them to see what might be needed. I spoke to the commander of the helicopter who's been flying those missions and he said there's a bend of about 10 to 15 kilometers, 6-9 miles, all the way across where you can see the damage. Mr. Leigh had said, it's houses that have been destroyed, it's trees that are down. He said the Lynx crew had seen people queuing for sacks of rice and water in Cebu, but nothing in the remote areas. So that's what they've identified as being the place that they want to go to, the place that they need to take their supplies of aid, he said. They can take salt water and turn it into fresh water. They're bringing containers to fill up so they can give it out to people rather than delivering huge quantities to people. He said a medical team from Save the Children would go out on the ground and assess whether people needed any immediate help. Thousands of grieving survivors earlier attended church services in areas devastated by the typhoon. In many places, including the mostly flattened city of Tacloban in Leyte province, masses were held in half-destroyed and flooded churches. UK Foreign Secretary William Hague said a number of British nationals remain unaccounted for but did not confirm how many Britons are missing. One of those unaccounted for is Colin Bembridge, 61, from Grimsby. A Foreign Office spokeswoman said, we are working with local authorities and international partners to locate British nationals.